So a lot of people actually think that Instagram is just for sliding into some shorty's DMs, getting left unseen, and then unsending your message. But you see, I'm here to actually set the record straight because I'm going to show you guys how exactly I actually get clients from Instagram. So I've pretty much created a repeatable system to where I can basically outreach to a certain amount of people every single day. And then at the end of the month, I'll know pretty much exactly how many sales calls I'll be able to book. And this has worked for me so well that I now don't really do much outreach because, my clients mostly come from referrals already, and I don't really need more clients just from outreach. And outreach is just such a timely process that I don't even have to do anymore. So I want to go ahead and actually show you guys the 3 strategies that I actually do, the 3 methods that I use on Instagram to actually get clients. So if you've only really been accustomed to sending outreach via cold email, this video is definitely going to absolutely blow your mind, and these strategies are going to work way better for you because Instagram honestly is my preferred method of outreach because it is so much more effective. Now, of course, email outreach is something that's not going away and it's also very effective, but doing them both in tandem just gives you a way better chance at actually going ahead and getting a client, especially if you actually don't have one yet. So if you don't know me, my name is Tyson4D. I actually help people get clients on YouTube for free. And I, of course, don't have any course or anything that I'm trying to sell you. Now, if you guys are interested, I did actually go ahead and create a free resource guide because in past videos, I told everybody, if you want this document, just hit me up and I'll send it to you. And you guys blew up my DM to the point where I might have missed some of you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all the resources all in one place and I'm going to send them out to an email list. Now, guys, on this email list, I am, like I said before, not trying to sell you anything. You guys will receive 0 offers. All you'll really get is, just general copywriting advice and outreach advice and free value. So if that's something you guys would be interested in, all you need to do to sign up is go down into the description and sign up to that email list. So before we actually get into these Instagram outreach methods, I want to address pretty much the most common question that I get whenever I talk about Instagram outreach. And that is, Tyson, do you absolutely need to have a professional account to actually go ahead and outreach on Instagram? The best way to actually answer that question is to do a short demonstration. So I wanted to show you this person's Instagram who actually reached out to me recently. Now, I'm not exactly sure what service he was actually outreaching or pitching to me, but I basically took a quick look at his profile. And I'm not actually going to put dude on blast or anything, nothing against him. I'm not going to even say anything about it, but I want you to take a look at it. And then I want you to actually take a look at my profile, right? You see that I have, testimonials. I have a clear bio on what I do and who I help. And then I have some other posts that kind of show off my expertise. So I kind of want you to make up the decision in your own mind who you would rather do business with. So in short, having an Instagram professional account will definitely help, but I have used my personal account in the past, and it also worked as well. So it's not a make or break. If you don't actually have one, I would start setting one up. But it doesn't really matter which actual account you go ahead and want to outreach on. So the only other ground rules when it comes to Instagram outreach is, for one, don't think because somebody has a whole bunch of followers or even a blue tick that they're the man and they're running some sort of super profitable 7 or 8 or 9 figure company, because oftentimes that is not the case. In fact, we've all gone across Instagram and seen those guys with literally, not even joking, 1 million followers, a blue check mark, and then on their posts they have literally 20 likes and 4 comments that are only bots. Now those are people that you want to stay away from at all costs, because chances are that you have more money than them to start with. So, they're absolutely useless to actually go ahead and outreach to. And with that being said, sometimes some 7, 8, and 9 figure businesses has an Instagram account with 10,000 followers or even less. I've reached out to people who have 8-figure businesses and they only have 10 to 20 to 30,000 followers. So don't go off of followers when you're just choosing on who to actually outreach to. The second ground rule is that the name of the game when it comes to Instagram outreach is that you have to get that first reply. Now, that first reply is so important because if you didn't really know how it works, what happens is if you actually outreach to somebody on Instagram, it'll go into their request DM. So that means that they won't actually get notified when you go ahead and message them. But if they actually message you back, and then you get into their primary tab. And now, you've not only started a conversation, making it harder for them to ghost you down the line, but you're actually also able to get into their primary tab. So now they'll get notified when you go ahead and send them another DM. And the third thing to look out for is appointment setters. So if you guys don't really know, a lot of people on Instagram, they'll have an appointment setter actually on their account handling all the DMs that they get, because they're off doing, business stuff, the high return things that, business owners do. So they'll have an appointment setter to actually handle all of the inbound leads. And since you're reaching out to them, they're going to genuinely assume that you're an inbound lead, and they're going to try to close you. So, when you actually message somebody and you get what seems to be their appointment setter, by all means, you're kind of wasting your time. So just move on to the next person, because, their appointment setter is most likely not going to pass your message on, and they're most likely not really going to care. So just move on to somebody who actually runs their own account. So with all that being said, let's get right into these Instagram outreach methods. So I got 3 of them for you guys. The first one is the improved version of the bait and switch. Now, I've revealed the bait and switch before, and I've seen a lot of people use it, and I've seen a lot of people use it incorrectly. So I've kind of made just a couple small tweaks to make it a little bit better, and some more examples of how you guys can actually go ahead and use it. So it basically works like this. All you really got to do is DM your prospect something about their product. So let's say they have a link in their bio about a coaching or whatever, right? You could, reach out to them and say something like, hey, is that link about group coaching, or is that more like a one-on-one coaching program? Now they're going to immediately think that you're an inbound lead. So of course, the reply rate on this is going to be near 100%. So they're going to reply to you, and they're going to be super cordial because they think, of course, you're an inbound lead. They're going to answer your question, and then you can smoothly transition into speaking about their marketing, and then you can smoothly transition into, coming up with ways that you can actually go about helping them. Now, what I see a lot of people do is they do the bait. So they're like, hey, something about their product. Then they get the answer to it. Then they're like, oh, nice. I'm a copywriter. Do you want to work with me? Like,
what? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
That is the definition of not smooth. And then they come to me and they're like, bro, I got my first replies, but like nobody actually, wants to talk to me after I do the switch. And that's just because your switch ain't good enough, okay? So I have a couple examples of switches for you, that might be able to up your game. But the name of the game here is smooth. And smooth basically means that you have to make the transition over time. You have to actually have a conversation with them. So, it should take about 3 to 4 replies before you're actually talking about getting on a call with them. So one example could be like, yo, I checked out your Linktree, and I actually saw that you have a sign up for your newsletter. Are you currently running any email marketing campaigns? And then, they'll say something like yes or no, and then you'll open up the floor to conversation. And then maybe you could say something like, hey, I wrote a few emails for you. Do you want to try them out on your list and see how they perform? Or, anything of that manner. Another one could be just to show off that you know a little bit about marketing and sales funnels. You could be like, hey, I see that you're running this, 3-day challenge, or I see that you're running this webinar or whatnot. Is there like a front end offer, or tell me a little bit about the back end offer? Just kind of ask questions, prodding them to give up more information about their sales funnel and what they're currently working on and what their current goals are for it, and then kind of transition it into a way where you can position yourself as an authority and as an expert and understand what they're talking about. Then you can basically give them a few ideas of what you were thinking, and now by that you're also showing off your expertise, and they're more likely to actually want to talk to you in the future about having you on their team, and you discussing how you could basically add value to what they're doing. Now, if they don't actually have a place in their bio where you can sign up to the email list, then you can go with that angle. You can be like, hey, I seen that you actually didn't have an email list, and you could even name drop one of the competitors or something. I noticed that this person does have one. Is there any reason that you decided to not opt for the email list? And then just start a conversation like that. It doesn't really matter which way you take it, as long as you take it smooth. And then your CTA should always be something that's very, very low pressure. So you could kind of talk a little bit about who you are and how you help people and what results you get them to achieve. And then you can go about saying, would you be open to a quick chat about, how it could add value to what you're doing? would you be open to hopping on a quick call and kind of, talking about if there's anywhere where I could take some work off your plate or something of that nature. And then you could even, add a little disclaimer and preface it with something like, this is not like one of those high pressure sales calls. I'm not going to try to close you or anything. It's just, just a little chat, because, people hate high pressure sales calls, including me. So if you just kind of are upfront with them and tell them what it's not, then they'll be more likely to actually hop on a call with you. So the second outreach method that I have for you guys is the true reason why I don't really have to outreach anymore. This is the one that I've used to actually get the majority of my clients. And even though not everybody I get onto a sales call will actually become my client, I've gotten onto a ton of sales calls just using this method. Now, I call it the true fan to video intro method. So it starts by, all you really have to do is go through some of their pictures, leave some likes, and leave some comments. Then you just gotta let that marinate for a couple days. Then what you're gonna do is actually send them a DM with something like replying to their story or with a compliment. Now, I understand that compliments are kind of like a controversial topic in this area, because everybody sends compliments and they're really overdone. But compliments in emails are way more overdone. And I find when you send genuine compliments through DMs, it doesn't have that oversaturated effect, or like that everybody already does this effect to it. So how I craft my super genuine DMs is I actually go through and look at some of their posts, and what I'm really looking for is some of their more inspirational posts. So if they post like something more inspirational or motivational, I'll like agree with it, and I'll just reach out to them saying like, yo, yeah, this post really speaks to my life. And then I could also tie it in with like a small story about what I kind of went through. I could be like, if their post was something about persevering or whatever, what have you, you could reply to that and be like, yo, I actually went through this time in my life where I was trying to start my business and nobody really wanted what I was selling, but I had to persevere just like you said, and I just wanted to say thank you for all the great content that you put out, and thank you for all the inspiration, and I really appreciate it. Another way to give out a really genuine compliment is that if you look for somewhere on their page where they kind of mention their story or some of the hardships that they went through. So you could reply to something like, yo, I saw your story about how you immigrated to the US, and then you went about starting your business even though you didn't speak much English, and then you struggled for so many years, and then you finally made it. Like, super inspirational story, and thank you for proving that it's possible for anybody. Very inspiring, and I appreciate the content. Something similar to that as well. Now, the key to actually making this work that you have to do, okay, that nobody else is going to tell you to do, is that after you give them that compliment, you have to let that marinate after you actually go ahead and have them respond. So after they respond, you let that marinate for at least 2 days, okay? Why? Well, I'm gonna tell you exactly why. Let's say you're walking down the street and some dude comes up to you and he says, bro, that shirt's looking fire, bro. Where did you get that? And you're kind of feeling yourself. This is one of your favorite shirts. You're like, oh, thanks, bro. I actually got it over here. And like, I really like how the collar does this one thing. I really like how it makes my arms look da-da-da-da-da. And you're going on about your shirt. And then he goes, yeah, cool, man. Cool. So would you like to buy one of our cell phone plans? And now all of a sudden, you're not only annoyed because, he came up and is trying to sell you something now, but you feel like a dummy, and you're mad and you don't really like him because he had you going like he actually gave a shit about your shirt, when in reality he's just coming up and trying to sell you something. So now you just completely undid the work you did with your compliment. You seem super ungenuine, and it seems like you're just trying to flatter him, and people really don't like that. If you go up and give somebody a compliment and just immediately ask for something, then that kind of negates the compliment and also makes you look like a weirdo. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna let that marinate for a couple of days, and then you're gonna go to the next step, which is actually sending them an introduction video. So in this introduction video, basically all I do is just kind of introduce myself, who I am, who I help, how I help them do it. And then at the end, I kind of just leave them with a CTA, something like, if you'd be open to kind of discussing if my services could work for you, or if there's some way that I could add value to what you're doing, just send me a quick DM and we can have a little chat about it. All right, that's it for now, and I'll talk to you soon. Anything like that. It's super simple, but the thing is, man, is that you're getting on video, and this works for so many different reasons. So like we already talked about before, the halo effect, right? If you don't know what that is, basically people like to do business with good looking people. Okay, it's just kind of a psychological fact that us humans just have. You're going above and beyond with your value, and showing them that they're special, and you're also setting yourself apart from everybody else. You're doing something completely different, because nobody really likes to get on camera, especially when they don't have to. So if you go above and beyond and just show that, you're articulate on camera, and you're just gonna send somebody an actual video, then you stand out, you go above and beyond. And I've gotten replies from some really, really big creators in the space because, they see that I'm out here hustling. So if you guys wanna see an actual example of how I go about and make this video, I have a literal example that I sent out to one of my clients, and I actually put it in that resource pack that I mentioned earlier. So again, if you guys want access to that free resource pack, you can go ahead and sign up to that email list down below. And again, you will not get offered anything on that email list because I have nothing to sell you. Now, number 3, we have the inbound lead method. Now, this method is so effective because for the first time in probably, ever, you guys are gonna have the chance to actually have a client come to you instead of you actually going to a client, okay? So this works so well because if you really think about it, nothing actually valuable just like pops out of nowhere and comes to you. If something's actually valuable, you have to go out and look for it. So it completely changes the dynamic, and now the power is in your hands rather than with them. Now there are many multiple ways that you can go about this. Like I could probably make a whole 30-minute video on how to actually go about getting inbound leads for copywriting. But just a few tips that are, small but yet very, very effective is, you can make lots of posts with CTAs. So it could be, a story post, or it could be a reel, or it could just be a post on your feed. And in the description or in the caption, you could just have a quick CTA. And your CTA could kind of just look something like, to further showcase that my method actually works, I'm actually taking on one free case study for the month of October. All you need to do is send me a DM and we can discuss if it would work or not, something along those lines. So the catch here is that they're a case study, so basically means that you want to show that your system works by giving them results, and it's a free case study as well. So after you actually get them those quick wins, of course, they're not going to want to just let you go. They're going to want to actually hire you on full time. This is one of those sneaky, kind of cheeky ways that you can actually get to work with somebody and show them that you can make them results. And it's a great way to actually go about it if maybe you don't have much experience yet, because when you're just starting out, it's really hard to get people to just pay you off the bat, even if it's 50% now, 50% after the work is done. So, getting on with them with the free trial is what I usually do to show my effectiveness. And then after I've already shown it, then they're happy to actually want to go ahead and hire me on full time. So guys, there you have it. Those are my 3 highly effective outreach methods for Instagram. Let me know what video you guys want to see next, and of course that link for the free resource pack is down below. And guys, that's it for now. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.